Victoria Azarenka just made one of the most hypocritical complaints in tennis history. Serving for the match at Bad Homburg, Iga Swiatek took her time between serves, and Azarenka exploded. Every time it's the same story. She's taking her time, and you're not checking. But here's the thing: tennis fans immediately called out Azarenka's hypocrisy, and Swiatek's response was absolutely perfect. Today we're breaking down the drama, the double standards, and why this moment reveals everything about both players. Let's set the scene. Iga Swiatek versus Victoria Azarenka, second round at Bad Homburg. Swiatek serving for the match at 5-4 in the second set, already up 6-4 from the first. The pressure is on. Swiatek tosses the ball up, but decides not to serve. She bounces the ball a few more times, taking her time to compose herself in this crucial moment.
Taking time on serve when you're serving for a match is completely normal and strategic. Players are allowed up to 25 seconds between points, and using that time to mentally prepare for crucial moments is basic tennis psychology. Every player does this. It's part of the game's rhythm and mental warfare.
But Victoria Azarenka wasn't having it. She interrupted play to complain directly to the chair umpire. Every time it's the same story. As soon as she's down in the game, she's taking her time, like over the time, and you're not checking. Every time, the frustration in her voice was clear. She was losing this match and looking for anything to disrupt Swiatek's rhythm.
This is classic gamesmanship. When you're losing, you try to find ways to disrupt your opponent's flow. Azarenka was down a set and about to lose the match, so she's looking for any excuse to break Swiatek's concentration. But calling out time violations when you're the one who's losing just looks desperate.
Here's where it gets interesting and hypocritical. Tennis fans watching the match immediately called out Azarenka because, and I quote from the YouTube comments, "This was hilarious because literally a game earlier on her service, Vika was repeating the tosses few times. So Azarenka was doing the exact same thing she was complaining about."
This is a perfect example of psychological projection, criticizing others for behavior you exhibit yourself. When players are under pressure and losing, they often become hypersensitive to their opponent's tactics while being blind to their own identical actions. It's a stress response that reveals mental fragility.
Azarenka is a serial complainer, just like Ostapenko. I love how Iga responded with a supersonic serve to shut her up. No wonder Azarenka is single. No sane guy will put up with such annoying behavior no matter how many millions she has.
Azarenka complaining about anything is so funny, like she must have forgotten about all those fake medical timeouts from the past. Traditional Vika and her dramas, she cannot survive these defeats. The tennis community clearly has Azarenka's number when it comes to her gamesmanship history.
What the fans are referencing is Azarenka's long history of controversial medical timeouts and gamesmanship tactics. She's built a reputation over the years for using every possible disruption when matches aren't going her way. So when she complains about Swiatek using legitimate time, it comes across as incredibly hypocritical.
But here's where Iga Swiatek showed her champion mentality. Instead of getting rattled by Azarenka's complaint and disruption attempt, she composed herself and delivered the perfect response. She hit a strong second serve to level the score at 30-30, then closed out the match 2 points later. Pure ice-cold professionalism.
Swiatek's response was textbook mental toughness. When your opponent tries to disrupt you with complaints and gamesmanship, the best response is to let your tennis do the talking. She didn't engage in the drama, didn't argue back, she just served her way to victory. That's championship behavior.
I love how Iga handled this. When Azarenka tried to get in her head, Iga just responded with JAZDA, her signature Polish battle cry meaning "let's go," and hit a supersonic serve. That's how you shut down a complainer, with your racket, not your mouth. Iga showed pure class while Azarenka showed her true colors.
Fans loved Swiatek's response. One commenter wrote, "Azarenka must understand she needs to play according to the server's pace. The timer is there for a reason, and Iga has every right to utilize it to the fullest." Another said, "I love angry, aggressive Iga," referring to her JAZDA celebration after shutting down Azarenka's complaints.
What made this even sweeter for Swiatek is that this was her 300th career WTA victory. She'd already come back from 1-4 down in the first set to win it 6-4, and now she was closing out the match despite Azarenka's disruption attempts. Champions find ways to win even when opponents try every trick in the book.
And here's what makes Azarenka's complaint even more ridiculous. According to WTA official match statistics, Swiatek was actually serving faster than Azarenka. Swiatek served 67% first serves compared to Azarenka's 58%. Swiatek had fewer double faults, more aces, and better service stats across the board. So the person complaining about time was actually the slower server. The broader pattern here is revealing, and the stats prove it. Azarenka served 58% first serves while complaining about Swiatek taking time, but Swiatek served 67% first serves. Azarenka had 5 double faults to Swiatek's 5, but Swiatek hit 6 aces to Azarenka's 6. The person complaining about pace was actually the less efficient server. It's like complaining about someone driving too slow when you're the one holding up traffic.
This incident perfectly illustrates the difference between champions and complainers. Champions adapt to pressure and find solutions. Complainers look for excuses and try to blame external factors. Swiatek used the allowed time strategically, while Azarenka complained about rules that apply equally to both players.
Let's be clear about the rules and the stats. Players have 25 seconds between points to serve, and Swiatek was well within her rights to use that time. But here's the kicker: Swiatek actually served more efficiently. 67% first serves versus Azarenka's 58%, same number of aces and double faults. Azarenka complained about the faster, more efficient server taking time. It makes no logical sense. Most telling comment came from a fan who wrote, "I wouldn't pay any attention to women's arguments during matches when emotions overwhelm rational thought. These arguments add color to the competition, giving us insight into how frustration is transferred to the opposing side in irrational ways." Basically, Azarenka was having an emotional breakdown disguised as a rule complaint.
What's really telling is that even when Azarenka tried this disruption tactic, it backfired completely. Swiatek didn't get rattled, she got motivated. The JAZDA celebration and the power serve that followed showed she fed off Azarenka's negativity and turned it into fuel for victory.
The aftermath tells the story. Swiatek advanced to the quarterfinals and continued her grass court preparation for Wimbledon. Azarenka went home with another loss and another reputation-damaging complaint. The contrast couldn't be clearer: one player focusing on solutions, the other focusing on excuses.
This is why we love Iga. She doesn't get involved in drama, doesn't make excuses, just plays tennis. When someone tries to mess with her rhythm, she responds with winners and JAZDA. That's champion mentality right there. Meanwhile, Azarenka is out here complaining about time violations while taking time herself.
This incident will likely become a teaching moment about sportsmanship and mental toughness. Swiatek demonstrated how champions handle disruption with composure and performance. Azarenka demonstrated how not to handle losing with complaints and hypocrisy. The contrast is a perfect case study.
Tennis community's reaction was swift and decisive. Fans immediately called out the hypocrisy, supported Swiatek's professionalism, and reminded everyone of Azarenka's pattern of gamesmanship. When the crowd turns against you that unanimously, it says something about your behavior and reputation.
Looking ahead, this moment reinforces why Swiatek is respected throughout tennis and why Azarenka's reputation continues to suffer. Champions earn respect through their actions under pressure. Complainers lose respect by making excuses when things don't go their way. This match was a perfect example of both.
Most savage comment might have been, Azarenka has turned into a sad, lonely, sorry, whiny, grumpy old drama queen who fakes her injuries these days. I would much rather prefer to remember her as a legend of this sport that she truly is. Even her own fans are getting tired of the complaints and drama. Victoria Azarenka's hypocritical complaint about Iga Swiatek's serving time backfired spectacularly. The tennis community immediately called out her double standards, supported Swiatek's professionalism, and reminded everyone why champions handle pressure differently than complainers. Swiatek's JAZDA and victory serve were the perfect response. Let your tennis do the talking. Sometimes the best way to shut down a complainer is with a winner down the line and a celebration that says try to disrupt this. Game, set, match, and lesson learned.